I like Pango. Dude, Tino is so good at Magnus in lane, but he just like can't translate it into like a solid mid game. I think it's just because like a general drafting thing. When they have Magnus, they never seem to pick something that like
Works well with it, right?
Yeah.
The synergy isn't there.
They either miss like a carry that can use the empower, or they miss damage for the RP, or they miss like something that jumps in and forces people to clump up together so he can hit the RP. Like all of those three things they never seem to have when they draft Magnus, and that makes me sad because he's so good in the lane.
He does do well.
Yeah.
It would be nice for him to be able to have a really solid Magnus game, but you know, Pango comes out instead, and Tree getting picked up for Execration. It got picked a lot last week when Fear was here.
Fear's gone, let's
and,
go.
and we got his thoughts on it. So guys, I gotta know, what is your thoughts on the Tree? Do you sit with Fear on it's very, very player dependent?
Yeah, I mean, the hero by itself has actually been one of the most successful heroes in SEA this tour. It gets, you know, I want to say like 15-ish games, like 70% win rate. So the hero's done well.
Check you?
Please no. Actually, yeah, you can. I'm curious to know what the exact. I just remember looking at some numbers before today's game, seeing which heroes have been doing poorly, which have been doing well. Yep. And Treant was the one that stood out the most for its win rate with a lot of picks. As far as Treant goes, I think, in my mind, it's a hero that's very good against the monkey, because so much of this 4-position monkey is about scouting on trees, and the ability to, you know, just know if you're under this Monkey King's vision is very valuable. I think it also just enables the way Execration play with Palace. He's going to play some kind of passive farming lane where I assume Treant's just going to be there, basically protecting him, being this big body in front. So probably, like you say, like Fear says, kind of player dependent. Some players are just better at the Treant than others.
Yeah.
It's not saying you can just tell your support to play if he's not practiced.
For sure. Fact checking you, it is 75% win rate. So
better than 7.
You were actually pretty close, though. I will give it to you.
How many picks though?
Only 8 in Division 1.
That's, yeah, mostly T1, of course. They play it so often.
And played in that win rate.
Yeah. Other teams have been picking up, though. We've seen, like, mixed success with other teams. I'm actually really curious what they're going to pair with it, because I think I remember talking to some pro who said that, like, the best thing you can pair with it is either really defensive, like, ranged carry, or you go for, like, some mad kill lane. It's either one or the other. You can't play, like,
nothing in
the
between.
middle. Yeah. What else? Like,
like Drows and Deuces always feel fine. Like as like the passive ranged right clickers.
You're saying with Tree?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what would you like, Execration?
I mean, like, the thing is, I'm scared because I feel like a lot of range carries like Drow and stuff, they can get run over by a TA lineup.
Yeah.
So it's very scary. They do have like jump and dive as well with Weaver, Monkey, Puck, so on. So like they're banning Drow because they respect that it like could be a good pick, but
ban Drow, we'll pick Deuce instead then. So I just think this is the Execration way. Like I agree, like the other approach is you take this kill lane, but I don't think that's Palace and Vincenzo. Like they like to play passive farm lanes. Vincenzo said it in the interviews, like, yeah, my job, I just secure Palace farm. We don't we don't go aggressive, we don't go for kills.
Yeah.
I'm just I'm a like 6-position support doing 6-position things. I don't know.
Classic.
Yeah.
Right, and now
Nigma getting last pick.
Need an offlaner.
Yep.
I personally would like. It's rough because you're laning with Monkey King, so you ideally want a ranged offlaner, but at the same time, I don't think there's any ranged offlaners I would actually want to play with into this lineup. Like Necro got taken out, which was probably like my number one.
Death Prophet's always number one, but that's first bet. So I was like, is that even worth mentioning?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like Quap's gone, DP's gone.
I mean, other regions are playing some Veno, but I don't like Veno into the Deucer that much.
Yeah.
It's also Veno into Storm Deucer doesn't make any sense.
You can still run melee heroes with Monkey King. It's like Medusa and Tree is just like kind of scary. You could always try and Timbersaw and just like trying hard to win your lane and play like that, like be a body, buy a hood.
But Timber into no strength cores, would you?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't pick him for that. I would just pick him for like the ability to be on the map. But like, it's hard either way.
Whoa.
Conker coming out for Nigma's last pick, but Mike and John are going to be joining us. As I want to know if Mike, you have more faith in the Execration Medusa.
I think I do, right? Because they have like infinite high ground hold. They can hold towers forever. I don't know. I feel like Execration did come out with a pretty solid draft. I mean, it's for the second time in a row, clearly.
Yeah. And John, yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm with Mike. Execration looks pretty set up here. I love the flex from NGX. We were a bit worried about it being a In Your Dream TA. We haven't seen that since Dubai, and before that, BTS Pro Series 8, which was like almost half a year ago. So switching it up, In Your Dream on his Kunkka, he does well on it, but overall, with how Execration played last game, I think Execration's looking a little bit cleaner here.
Understood, taking everything into account, the Execration curse, but how good they were looking in game 1. Now them picking up the Medusa, In Your Dreams being on Kunkka. Which team do you guys like?
I despise offlane puck. It's probably one of my most hated offlane heroes. Like,
All right,
Okay.
Mike's
So-
still down over there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's trash.
I think it's trash. I think it's straight trash. I mean, I would love to be proven wrong. I'll be
Yeah.
watching Mizu very carefully. I think he got puck got nerfed really hard a couple patches ago and stopped being viable as an offlaner. So
Okay.
that's why we don't see it anymore.
So you're going all in Execration,
I'll go-
2-0ing this.
Yeah.
And God
And into Medusa, like I feel like this is like unlike last game, you see this Dusa, and you're like this Dusa can't carry a late game. This game, Dusa into Kunkka TA, great counter, well, kind of counter pick. So I think, yeah, I'm going Execration 2-0.
Well, I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say about it, Mike and John, as we head into game number 2.
Oh, thank you so much, Nat. We do go into game number 2. John, I'm going to ask you, before we do officially get this game underway, have I polluted Sheepo's mind? She seemed very negative about that off-lane puck. I had the same feeling, Sheepo. You and I were on the same page this time around. So have I polluted her mind, Jonathan? Has she taken a page out of my book?
Maybe so, Mike. Maybe so. You know, you're not the greatest influence in the world. Unfortunately, I would know this after being with you for almost 5 years, but it is what it is. To be fair, though, like the puck, it has been nerfed a while. We do have a beautiful flyby cam again from our observer Pitin. Very nice views coming out here of the rich vistas of Dota 2. Still, off-lane puck. I think the big change is double null doesn't give you a lot of damage anymore. It does help with mana, balancing your mana, but you can't burst yours down, so you don't have that great jump potential to just instantly kill someone. And I think that's why the puck kind of just died out. It just doesn't benefit as much from double null in comparison to, say, Storm, which we do see for Bob this game. So we'll see how much Mizu can bring out. This is a hero he plays a lot in the offlane before, but again, the changes to the puck just don't make it really great. Even like the Ags change kind of kills it off because you're waiting on level 25 spike to pierce BKBs. Not something easy to do from the offlane in most games, Mike.
I think something important to point out, though, John, at least for NGX.SEA's defense here, is the fact that they've got 5 cores in their draft. And that's a classic Southeast Asian draft we're talking about here, John. So they clearly have the massive advantage as JoeCam run right into Tino, fight over these bounty runes, but it looks like JoeCam's going to leave them be. 5 cores, John. How do you lose with 5 of them?
That's true. You know, you can always try to scale in every single one. Try to, if anyone gets a kill, it's always beneficial because all of these heroes scale well with items. So could be the play. It is greedy if you start to think about it that way, Mike. And I'm not sure if you're trying to encourage everyone to go for 5 cores in your pokes. That's on you.
As long as it's against me, John, I don't mind at all. Not like I have a choice anyway, John. We all know my support to going core heroes anyway. So we may as well start with this top lane, In Your Dream, and JoeCam. Going to be against Tino and Shanks. I must say, John, this does look like a rather annoying lane for NGX.SEA to have to deal with. Like, once you have this Chakra Magic up, it becomes kind of ridiculous how spammable Swashbuckle and Shield Crash can be for Tino.
Yeah, it just becomes really easy for Tino to control the lane. He could get the value point in Lucky Shot, make it pretty hard for In Your Dream to just farm. Really good cuts coming out, so you do manage to snipe a couple of couriers on both sides. Big concern here for Execration is Shanks. He's got to kind of measure himself against JoeCam running around with Chikuchi. He's going to have to invest in sentries and just prevent that from being a constant issue. Although every time you land Illuminate, Weaver doesn't feel great. So you do still have a lot to play with at level 1 for Exe. Level 3 is where it really shines, and that's when, you know, In Your Dream might get a little bit more tested in that lane.
Yeah. And we should have a look at the other lanes as well when we have a chance. Of course, mid lane, you're going to have Alacrity against Bob. In fact, hold that thought, because In Your Dream was copying a fair bit of damage on that Kunkka. Back to what I was saying, though. Mid lane, Bob and Alacrity at it. Bob already copying a hell of a lot of damage here from Alacrity, and I guess it's the one saving grace, right? Because you and I both had our negative thoughts about In Your Dream TA. Luckily, Alacrity has taken it for NGX.SEA. I have a lot more faith in Alacrity TA over the IYD TA, and so far, so good. Against the Storm, he does have the advantageous matchup.
Yeah, it's a great matchup for Alacrity. He's not under threat for the Vortex at level 3. He can always just play it with the side blades, harass out Bob, and it becomes pretty tough for Bob to balance. He's going to need a lot of water runes going his way, a lot of power runes as well. As the moment Alacrity sees that opening to try to harass out even more of the side blades, he's probably going to find that kill.
Bob. Yeah, Bob. He's going to try to run. Alacrity, just one more hit will do it, but the water rune's going to be there. Bob, he'll keep healing up. And Alacrity, he doesn't have the bonus refraction damage anymore. Though Bob, he'll go for a race for the second water rune, and well, that's some quick thinking from the Storm that will allow him to not have to go back to the fountain. He will be able to remain in lane, and well, actually, as I say that, Alacrity looking to block him off here, not let him back into the lane. I suppose that's one thing you can do, is just kind of zone out the Storm, but it's like Bob is going to bully Alacrity back a little bit.
Yeah, and a little bit of back and forth. Very important for Bob to find both of those water runes. He's going to need some help for the next water rune. He's going to need help for that power rune as well.
Oh, Tino and Shanks. Well, the Shanks was the one in trouble, and never mind Bob. He's in even bigger trouble mid lane as Alacrity does clean him up. So 2 kills already going the way of NGX.SEA, and first blood, I believe, did go... Was it the way of Jokam that it went? Yeah, it was. So the Weaver gets first blood.
And as you mentioned, you know, all of these heroes are cores, yeah, or could be run as cores, and a greedier Weaver gets a faster timing into earn, has more presence. It is still a pretty big kill to have. NGX already off on stronger lanes. The last lane we haven't really talked about down bot is where we have that off lane puck, which, you know, you and Sheepo aren't big fans of. It hasn't been doing well, but Mizu's holding his own so far. Laning phase is going surprisingly well up there in CS, slowing down Palos quite a fair bit. And there's not too much the Treant can do to relieve that. Of course, Treant up against Monkey King is a funny one, because up against Treant you would want to cut trees. Monkey also wants some of those trees up for the tree dance, so you're not cutting as much as you'd want, but you are still, you know, not giving Vincenzo the easiest time to just walk around and use Nature's Grasp. So Mizu's still controlling the lane well. You're not getting max potential from Vincenzo. Palos struggling a bit in farm, especially when compared to In Your Dream. That is a concern. You do want that boost to farm up into the initial items to just stay in the jungle later on.
It's funny, John, I said NGX.SEA were the ones who were going to have trouble top lane as well, but it seems like they're doing just fine. Another kill onto Tino up at top lane, and Shanks wasn't even around to really try and help out, as I believe he was trying to stack the triangle instead. So Tino, he's off to another very rough start in the off lane. Keep in mind, though, the exact same thing happened in game number 1, and well, he was, in my mind, the MVP last game, so maybe he just turns around anyway.
Yep, he's going to need to have some stacks on hand. I think that's a lot of pressure onto Shanks to just keep that build up in the jungle. They already have a couple of stacks. Could still stand to build more. I am interested to see this build from Tino. He did go for a 0-2-1 build at 3. Does have 4, so Swash is up. And you can start trading with a Kunkka, make it a little bit awkward for him to hit. Jokam doing a great job of just disrupting some of the pulls, blocking off the camps, preventing that build-up without having to expend sentries. And that is going to slow down that recovery process for Tino. So we'll see how much Execration wants to commit in chasing down the Weaver, but that's some good use of movement from NGX.
They're doing a lot of great work down at bot lane as well. Like, Palos is being zoned down here along with Vincenzo, and it certainly doesn't feel as safe as it should have been here for the Deuce of Treant. And Paulson doing a great job of just keeping Vincenzo away, as now Palos will be chased down. Silence is there, it's the Boundless Strike, and they'll find him. Palos gonna end up dropping, as Paulson would love a bit more, but Vincenzo gonna go deeper into the tree line. But it's that kind of that funny scenario you kind of talked about here, John. Vincenzo and Paulson kind of countered each other out. It's Vincenzo not going to be able to really run too deep any longer, but Paulson, he's lost the tree. In the meantime, mid lane looks like Bob was dropping very low on the Storm, but he's going to be okay. He'll back up.
This back and forth down mid does bode well for Alacrity, though. He's still farming up in the TA quite nicely. He's going to be the win condition this game. There is some scaling on Kunkka, but you've got enough, you know, momentum with just some early levels and some quick items that the TA can afford to go for the bigger build-up. Desolator, Blink, BKB, and Alacrity is lined up to have a good time ramping to that point. So overall, a really strong start for NGX, 0-4. Execration, they've got the Dusa. They do have that scaling into late game, but you don't want to give out too much to NGX early on, because once they do have a couple of items up and the levels up, they will look to really run down and apply that pressure. As we saw in game 1, Execration do the same thing.
Yeah. So very annoying times here for the Execration, as Alacrity mid lane going to get vortexed up, but he's perfectly fine. Just keeps clapping at Bob. Bob still doing a pretty good job considering how this lane's gone. 34-7, but just pretty far behind Alacrity, which is the main issue. Even now, the Psyblade's still bouncing around. Poor old Bob just can't avoid them. What's happening in that dire triangle? And Paulson and Vincenzo again just kind of chasing each other down here on this tree at Monkey King. Just keeping tabs on each other. Rather, Paulison keeping tabs on the tree. Vincenzo just can't really do anything without Paulison just following him. And he knows about it. He just can't stop it. It'd be even funnier, John, if you could just jump on tree and protect her as Monkey King. I reckon that should be the way it goes.
Yeah, you just easily spot him out, prevent him from dancing around the jungle, and now the triangle, they are starting to clear out some of those stacks, so a lot of that build up here for Tino or for Bob gets lost in a pop.
Yeah, big group up. Vincenzo, at the very least, is going to drop, but so will Bob. A nice X back there from In Your Dream. Tino, he's going to pop the Rolling Thunder and try to go back in on Alacrity, but Alacrity has plenty of help around him and has the refraction back up. In fact, he'll stick around and just keep going after the stacks as Tino needs to back off. Bramble Spring will be there from Paulison to try and slow him down. Tino with the shield crash can be quite tanky. With the Illuminate flying in as well, a lot of damage to come out onto NGX.SEA as they cannot finish off Tino. They'll go back for the triangle stacks. Bob, he might be able to pick off Paulison, and he will. Can they keep going though? NGX.SEA, they'll find Shanks on the Keeper of the Light. Bob wants a bit more, we'll find Joker. So a bit of a trade going on around this Radiant jungle. It does still feel like NGX.SEA came out well and truly on top though.
They find some big trades. They managed to take out a lot of that large camp that was stacked up, so the resources are still gone for Exa. Some catch-up gold for Bob and the kills. Not enough to make him really comfy. Still waiting for his power treads along with his second null. And maybe at that point you can start to play make a little bit more with a Cockle standing behind you. This is giving some necessary space out to Palos. His bot lane is under less pressure with all the movement onto that triangle. So your Dusa win condition is finding some space to farm. Not the quickest though. You're still lagging behind everyone else here. For Palos, he still needs to build up top of his team's network, but not on the map, and that is what you want to see. You want to do some catch up Mizu though.
I think it's a nice deny off on the bounty, just denying that away from Bob, so no full bottle out for the Storm. That'll be about it though. They can't hold on to Mizu as top lane. Tino again gonna drop on the Pangolier, and it just seems like every time he shows up top, he just cannot survive.
Yeah, he's just really vulnerable right now. Unless he gets a big shield crash off, he is kind of just going to melt to the output from NGX at this point. And it's not like his supports can do too much to save him. Living armor is nice for the bonus armor, but doesn't really stop all that burst coming through that the Kunkka can pump out, that the Weaver can amplify on the Swarm, just counteracting that bonus armor. So NGX still has a lot of that momentum going. They've been making really good use of Paulson's Monkey King and just scouting around a lot of these fights. Execration, they're kind of forced to huddle around mid and hold their triangle. Like you can see, they've dragged Palos in to clear out a couple of the stacks now. They've invested a lot of sentries. They had a couple of obs down there as well. They just want to ensure Palos will get the farm up. And he is getting that room out now, but same thing goes for Execration. You know, Alacrity is pretty much uncontested. Dragonlance almost done. Desolator next, BKB disassembly afterwards. This TA is going to hit those sparks maybe about 15 to 17 minute mark with a couple of those items up, and at that point, you're not going to have a lot to handle the TA, so Execration's got to worry about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's more of a matter of, as this Dusa, you're just going to get into the triangle, take the stacks before Alacrity does. Jocam, though, at least able to find Vincenzo on the train protector, so another kill to go the way of NGX.SEA is Mizu. So we can just get started on the bottom tier 1 tower. Bob is around with a double damage rune, but I don't believe he'll have enough damage on his own to really be able to defend this, but he's going to move in. Mizu's actually taking a hell of a lot of damage here, and in fact, he might be gone. And he will be. Just could not orb and jaunt away in time. So Bob proving me wrong immediately, Jonathan.
Great news for Bob. Just managed to get the kills he needs to build up on the Storm. Has the Fairy's Trinket for a little bit more damage. Has the Power Treads doubled null. So he's kind of set to just run around. This is the early time that we tend to see from Storm Spirits when they do take a more aggressive role. NGX not backing off though. Still keeping down Bob.
Palos! Yeah, Palos. He just melted to the damage of Alacrity, and I believe Alacrity was just hitting all the side blades on that creep wave. The Team Medusa gone. Down a bot lane, they will try to move in onto the Monkey King. Paulison, still pretty healthy. They'll turn onto Bob. In Your Dream, even showing up just in case they need it, but he hasn't thrown out the Bob. Or rather, never mind. No boat necessary. In Your Dream takes the kill, and they hold on to the boat for the next time.
They've got the early aggression again. They're hitting all their early timings. They're playing fast. They're giving Alacrity space. And there's not much room coming out for the Dusa. Palace is still forced to hold mid up against Alacrity. Still forced to cop those side blades. Alacrity's about to build up into that Desolator. Bot tier 1's cleared out. The map is shrinking for Execration. And they're not able to really get enough flash farm for Palace. He's still lagging behind, almost 2,000 gold behind Alacrity and In Your Dream. Not where you want your Medusa to be at. Again, reminiscent of Game 1 with what Execration did up against In Your Dream's Medusa. NGX is doing the same thing to Palace here.
They are. So far, so good for NGX.SEA. Execration, it's very important they hold on to these tier 1 towers. And Vincenzo, he'll get to work healing up that mid tier 1, but it is a rather slow process these days. Joe Cam gonna move in onto Palos. To show himself off on the Weaver. In they go, Palos, he'll be targeted. The bow torrent is gonna land. Palos already out of mana and he's just gone. Oh boy. I mean, Rolling Thunder's gonna be there. Tino, he'll try to turn this one, but he's got no backup. There's just not enough backup right now. Bob, he'll move in eventually, but the coil's gonna lock him down. It's a very aggressive movement from Execration, but it looks like it won't work out in their favor as Tino's still trying to kill off Joe Cam, but it's not gonna be enough. Oh, what a mess from Execration.
Yeah, and they're forcing these fights. They're constantly trying to chase, and NGX isn't done.
No, they certainly aren't, John. They found themselves a tree. Vincenzo, not gonna last. Against the tight ring hit of In Your Dream. That'll be the tier 1 mid tower just gone. Palos, he's trying to defend for the team here in the Medusa, John, but it feels like his job is just farming right now.
Yeah, you don't want this Medusa to show up. Doesn't have the value point in Stone Gaze, so even if you're caught in the middle, you don't really have a saving spell to kind of stall out for the team to come in and follow through with maybe the Overgrowth, which just comes up for Vincenzo. They need to kind of hammer in control in the triangle now. Without the mid-tier 1, that's harder to do, but they can still drop, you know, the resources there, drop some wards, drop some sentries, keep a farming spot for Palos. And if NGX can't pierce that area, you do still have some scaling on your win condition. But NGX, Deso not too far off now for Alacrity. They've smoked up. They've got a lot of jump potential with Mizu's blink up. And they can just keep running and gunning themselves.
Immediate jump in Mizu. No hesitation with the Dream Coil. Just going to kill off Tino. So aggressive from NGX.SEA this game number 2. Much more their style, it seems, as Joe Cam will look for more, and they found Palos. They just won't have Alacrity around to help take that Medusa out. But NGX.SEA certainly not looking to slow down anytime soon. With a 7k net worth advantage, it's looking very good for game 2.
Yep. Just shows that change in playstyle. And again, Medusa, very slow. Your lineup should be trying to cause chaos across the map, as the panel pointed out. They have been trying on Execration's end. I don't think you're well equipped enough on your Storm or your Pangolier to really get that done. You want to blink up on at least the Pango to get some positioning in with a Rolling Thunder. And you kind of want to blink here as well for Vincenzo if you can save up for it. The Overgrowth is pretty big. It will just take a while.
Bob just going to get deleted here by In Your Dream. In the meantime, Joe Cam's going to go for a chase onto Shanks. They might be able to catch him. Eventually, Shanks still running. Joe Cam will chase him down, though. With that, oh, yeah, with the Swarm, he just couldn't get away. And towards the mid lane, Tino, looks like they haven't looked around for Polison, but he does not get caught out. The Rolling Thunder completely wasted, and NGX.SEA, they just seem really calm right now. Like, there's just no contest. So they jump in again. Onto Tino they go. Tango locked down. Overgrowth his way. Mistimed. Mizu just going to get away for free. And now they can move in on Palos. So Bomb, he's going to try and fight this one out with the Stone Gaze. But it's not even that great. Bomb, he'll get to the low ground, but Tino's going to drop. And Palos, well, he's not out of date yet either, John. He's going to drop a third time. What a problematic game here for Execration. As Bob, he'll drop as well. 11k net worth advantage, and just not even close right now.
No. They're still going small over the tier 3s.
I mean, why not? Just kill off Shanks at the same time. Onto the tier 2 mid tower they go. And again, Execration just being smothered right now by NGX.SEA, not being given a moment to get the farm up that they need.
Yeah, it just goes back to do stuff against these high tempo heroes. Kunkka, TA, Puck don't really need too much to be online and force these fights. They don't have many long cooldowns to wait for. they're just all over the map and just ensuring that Execration don't farm. And again, it's funny because Execration did this exact same thing up against Sedusa last game. They're not able to solve those same issues themselves. They've got a little bit more team fight. You know, they've got roll, they've got overgrowth, they've got a jumpy mid that doesn't take too much farm to really be active, but they're not given the opportunities to leverage any of that. They will go for a smoke play. That is under some vision on trap, so a bit of a spotting out here from NGX.
Oh, he's been caught out immediately. He'll zip away, but the coil's gonna lock them down. Rolling Thunder or not, Tino just doesn't have the impact right now to help out his team, who's just getting shredded. A double kill for Alacrity. They'll try for the last piece of the puzzle, and that's going to be Tino on the Pangolier, just completely surrounded. And he's gone. On to Roshan we go.
Yeah, doesn't take too long with the damage output you do have on hand now for NGX. The minus armor stacks up. No counterplay here for Execration. At the least, they can use this time to keep farming up on Palos. He's still a long ways off from the marks of Medusa, though. You know, like the Manta still coming out, the Scotty's gonna have to come out as well. Maybe even the BKB this game just to be protected from the Kunkka. And it just doesn't feel like there's enough room for Palos to farm that fast. The gap between Palos and Alacrity and In Your Dream is widening. It hasn't been closing out. Their triangle is under control from NGX. The Deuce is just not able to shine here, and Execration needs to keep trying to play as 4 to force the aggression out, but none of that aggression's linking up much. It just feels like NGX has been able to use the vision from the monkey, the vision from the TA traps quite nicely to spot that movement, take control of the triangle, and just choke out the Deuce.
They go now. NGX again just don't seem like they need to slow down at all. 4 minutes, 10 seconds on the Aegis, plenty of time to just kind of abuse this TA and how strong it is right now. There's a bit of a scatter here from Execration to try and buy a bit of space here for this Medusa. But Palos, I mean, he's only working towards a Manta style. It's just going to be such a long time until he has that Skadi available. We saw the same thing in game 1. So this hero just doesn't seem to be working very well today at all. This Medusa, that is. Top lane, a big group up from Execration, hoping somebody takes the bait for the creep wave, but Palos, well, he'll try to bait himself. NGX.SEA, though, not going to take any of it. They'll just go for a free mid-tier 2 tower. Bob, he'll zip in. They do find In Your Dream, but the boat is going to be able to fly out, and it's going to make him way too tanky. They'll lock him down, but here comes Alacrity on the TA, and poor old Vincenzo's just dead. Shanks, he's going to try to run, but Mizu's on with the chase. Eventually, they should be able to find the cuddle, and they will. In Your Dream will take that one. Even with that many heroes surrounding the Kunkka, they just don't have anywhere near the damage.
No,
Palos?
They just,
Can he be caught here, John? Palos, pop the Stone Gaze. Dream Coil will lock him down, though, and that might allow enough time for NGX.SEA to just keep going. They lock him down with the Yule Scepter, and now they've definitely got him. So much damage to fly out from Alacrity. Again, Tino just unable to help whatsoever. That'll be another death for the Medusa, the 5th one of the game, and it just keeps getting worse and worse here, John. Just worse and worse.
There's just no breathing room. Exa don't have much map to play with. Bob's trying to farm the top jungle to build up into his Kaya Sanj into BKB. Still a ways off from getting that BKB up, or even just a Sanj. And they lose him at tier 2. So even more map for NGX control. They've just been playing non-stop aggression. 32-4. Like 32 kills by 21 minutes. I mean, that's a lot of great movement out from NGX, and their lineup just does really well for that. I mean, they have highly mobile heroes with a blink on puck, with the Monkey King just jumping around giving vision. There's not much room for Execration to go for smoke plays. Kino still doesn't have his blink, Mike. Like without that blink in the Pango, finding the angle is just so hard.
No, I think Paulson has done a really fantastic job this game on this Monkey. And they go again. Alacrity right on Vincenzo, getting rid of him with a double damage rune. Nothing the train can do. It's like you mentioned, I mean, Paulson, he's just hanging around in the tree line constantly. You'll see Bob trying to catch him all the time, but they just haven't managed to. And now NGX.SEA, they may just go high ground.
They've got...
Never mind.
They've got a little bit more time on that Aegis. It looks like they just want to keep that Storm down in position. And Paulson again just giving the vision they need.
We'll see if Bob can get his way out of this one. Looks like Paulson's not moving. Alacrity going to show up. Trap was in the last spot he was, but it seems like Bob's got enough info now. Paulson barely missing out on the vision. Won't be able to get there to cancel the TP in time. And so NGX.SEA, they'll just continue controlling this map. 18k net worth advantage at 22 minutes. One would argue, John, the game's already over, but it is certainly not with a Medusa caught on the other side of things. It's Execration. They'll keep holding out. But you've got to find some successful team fights here if you are this Radiant team. The tier 2 bottom tower just going to drop for free, it seems like. Rolling Thunder just never came out from Tino, and it just doesn't seem like they're really ready for a fight. Maybe just hoping for the high ground fight instead.
I think that's the best bet of Execration right now. They will go for a smoke play, but don't really manage to find too much with it, and it's going to be tough going. Their high ground hold is still great. Overgrowth, Stone Gaze, plus a roll. A really good set of rolls from Tino. It's going to be really big. The issue is just getting NGX to line up like that. NGX has been very disciplined with their positioning. They've been very disciplined with how they go into these fights and the angles they take, not giving more than 2 heroes clumped up for that big overgrowth. And they're just really way too overfarmed. Like, Scotty's up on Alacrity. He has a Scotty first, not even getting the BKB. Wow. He just wants that healing reduction, wants that slow to help kite out the Medusa, help hold these heroes down. And for Execration, I mean, Palas is still finding farm. He's at 9.8k, a full 5k behind Alacrity at this point. And the Deuce is just not big enough to carry this game like, and it's going to take so much more time for that to happen. I'd say at this pace, we're talking about like 10 minutes of farm for Palas and maybe a couple of one-team fights, which is hard to see when NGX is playing so clean now in Game 2.
It's very hard to see right now, John. 4-man smoke here from NGX.SEA. They'll head down towards the bottom side of the map. And Shanks might be the unfortunate victim here for Execration as Mizu immediately going to jump in. Does see the coddle. And Paulson, he's going to have a look for a bit more. Mizu gets the kill, but more importantly, Tino has been spotted here by Paulson. They'll even find the Pango. And this Monkey King, I mean, it's just been so effective this game. Paulson's just finding everyone.
Yeah, just working the vision game again and again. They're protected by the Aegis. They've got a ton of farm. They've got the team fight to back them up into the high ground. I don't think there's much dissuading them. Again, just playing it consciously. If they do manage to somehow lose a fight, that's a big opening for Execration, because they've still got Dusa, they've still got Storm that can itemize. Heck, even towards late game, say an Ags on Vincenzo can indefinitely stall this game, and that could be one way to go as well. Giving some farm out to Treant, having the eyes of, what's it called, eyes in the forest out, de-shoving waves, getting control, helping them isolate heroes. You don't want to run that risk on NGX. They are starting to clump up bot though, and this should be the commitment onto high ground soon.
Bob's trying so hard to find Paulson. Look how annoying this Monkey King is. Even then, he just won't die. Bob, he'll move in now. Wukong's command was already out. In fact, Palos, he's the one in trouble. Boat's gonna fly in. He will not be able to avoid it either. They won't dive too far. They'll hold out for now. They'll give Palos another chance at life. It's onto the tier 3 tower instead. Objective-based gaming comes first for NGX.SEA. And even with this net worth lead, it's still going to be a bit of a process. It's not that easy against the coddle. So they will hold for now. Seem like this Dire team need to fully commit if they want this bottom racks right here, right now. They go Alacrity with the X back. Feels much safer to try and go after the back lines. Won't be able to finish off Tino though. In the meantime, they go back after that tier 3 bottom tower. But you've got to worry about Palos now, who's just frontlining for his team. And it does seem like they are going to be able to force NGX.SEA back for a little bit.
Hold off a bit. They do spot the DD, X mark, and Alacrity is going to be back. And this should open up the high ground for them. They've got a lot of output on Alacrity. They can just rip through. Living armor not going to be enough to stop us from Alacrity.
Here we go again. Dream Coil is going to lock them down though. Shank's already gone. They've got the Deucer now completely controlled up. There is going to be a Vortex to try and help out. In fact, Alacrity, he may lose his first life, and he does. Not a bad start for Execration. If they can somehow find Alacrity a second time, it could be a great team fight for them. But Alacrity, he'll keep trying to fight this one out. Overgrowth was there, but Lotus Orb was also out immediately. So they'll find Mizu. They do get a puck, but they really want that TA. It's a massive kill streak to get, but Alacrity's gonna fight back. Bob is still trying, but it costs him his own life. Buybacks are flying out though. Bob will zip right through, but Alacrity, he's still not dead yet. Almost down. Finally does end up dying. There's maybe now they can turn it. Bob, he might die back immediately though. No mana to Vortex away, but it's all about giving Palos all these kills on the Medusa. But Execration still can't quite get the job done. Palos, he's been left behind to try and fight this one out by himself, and it's not good enough. They get the TA, but that's about all they get here, John.
Yeah, it's a valiant effort. They do find openings, and they do manage to hold on a bit, but that does cost them massively. Die back on Bob, and death on Palos. They don't have the TA to complete the siege, but they've still got pressure here on NGX.
Nice little roll up there from Tino. Rolling Thunder. Doesn't allow him to get out and actually just clear the creep wave completely. And it's all about holding that high ground right now if you're Execration. Without the TA, NGX.SEA probably just can't finish off the T3. Which means that Execration should be able to slowly heal it up all the way and maybe give themselves another good high ground defense.
And we see what happens when all of the spells line up there. You know, you get a good overgrowth, you get a good roll, you get a good vortex off. You suddenly have an opening to at least isolate one of these big cores and equalize the game a little bit more. Palos, riding into his Eye of Scotty, is using the Philosopher's Stone while he's dead, just to get some efficiency going. And, you know, every single thing counts for Execration. They need all these wins, they need all this little gold to trickle in to give themselves that hold. But you can see how challenging it is. The constant deep push from Shanks, constant healing out from Treant, the additional armor on the towers despite all the minus armor from NGX makes it tough to just find the objectives they need. And without the Aegis now, they might just have to wait for the next Roshan. Still 2 minutes and 20 seconds until we see that timer. And that's more time for Execration to just find whatever farm they can. Again, ride into that Scotty for Palos and hope for the best here.
Oh, this time they may have finally caught Paulson. He was getting all this vision out. In fact, I say they've caught him, John. He's still fine. They don't actually commit because they saw in your dream around. And they don't want to have to deal with the Conquer right now. So they caught Paulson for a second, but he's still just fine.
Yep, still bails out. That's Rolling Thunder forced out. Not the longest cooldown. That is giving Bob some space to farm, but Paulson keeps tracking. He's out of mana here.
Oh, Bob. Getting caught out by the same hero that he was just trying to catch. And has no way out of this. He's down for 70. No buyback available for the Storm. And in the meantime, you also end up losing Shanks. Alacrity just takes him out with the TA. You might have a chance to go high ground again if you're NGX.SEA.
Yeah. You take out a lot of big factors that kind of complicated that issue for NGX. They could look for the clump up. Still kind of repairing the top lane, but eventually they will start to group up down bot. Again, they've still got really good damage output on Alacrity. Without the deep push coming through from Shanks, without the Mr. Ents, this should be a lot smoother for them.
Well, 6-47 is the scoreline right now. 34k net worth advantage for NGX.SEA. They'll just keep going on to that bottom tier 3. This time they'll have it very easily. There'll be no big defense to come out from Execration. And it should be at least 2 lanes of barracks. Oh, they might just stay all the way. At the very least, Palos now does have the Eye of Scotty up, but lacking quite a bit of damage here on this Medusa. It's at least going to be able to scare away NGX. It'll be good enough for them for now.
Yeah. Just 1 Rax lost. Execration still has the power to hold on to their 2 Racks. Roshan, we're going to see in about 20 seconds when the respawn is. And again, NGX is set up to take that objective as well. Execration has managed to drop a couple of wards though, so they will be aware when the enemy team is going for that Roshan. They are going for a smoke play.
Well, they'll be fighting right into that new Aghanim Scepter though for In Your Dream. So Torrent Storm now up, and you haven't really got many BKBs available right now for Execration. Very, very tough fight to try and take. Bob, he'll pop his BKB early. Just trying to catch Paulson on the Monkey King. Get rid of all that vision and control, and they'll get him. It's a nice start, but they won't go for any more. In fact, In Your Dream, he'll rush onto Palos with the X, but they won't commit for it. They might just wait for Paulson to be back up first.
No rush. Roshan is also a longer respawn, so you will have your Monkey King back up in full for NGX if they will want to go for that objective first. And there's still not too much pressure. Like, yeah, you're dropping a couple of heroes here and there. They are worth a lot of gold, even the supports, considering how ahead you are. But it's still not enough to give Execration that little boost they need. Pilots is still keeping up well, though. Within a few hundred gold of Mizu, but lagging severely behind Alacrity and In Your Dream. Not too bad for the Dusa. And with a Scotty up, you feel a lot better. Daedalus next. Build up here for Bob. Again, you saw the BKB. He's going for his own Shivas next. I think you would like to see, again, an Ags down the line for the Storm. Help simplify these fights. That's still way down the line on priority, though. But you are seeing a team that is holding on. Like, this is a massive deficit. This looks like a game that should be over, right, Mike? But Execration still have a lot to play with. They still have that hold, and NGX are respecting how well Exa can hold the high ground, how well they can de-push these waves and make the high ground push just that much more challenging.
Well, as our observer just showed, John, 100% chance win probability here for NGX.SEA apparently, but, you know, we've seen that be wrong before, so you never know. It is still a Medusa game, after all. I would say, though, 100% does feel very accurate, even with that previous fight that happened. NGX.SEA, though, no rush. Again, maybe just waiting for the next Roshan. For now, Alacrity just building up his next item. He is going into the Swift Blink now, which is pretty standard for the Templar Assassin. Makes it almost impossible to try and fight back here if you are Execration. Again, they are still within this game number 2. They are still alive. And GX, they might find Vincenzo here on the Stream Protector. Paulson should have scouted him out, and he's got him. It'll be another Treant kill here for Paulson and Alacrity. Poor Vincenzo has died 12 times this game. I guess it's a matter of what can you do?
Yeah, you can't do much. You can just kind of find what farm you can, de-push the waves, be the sacrifice for the team to get some info out. I mean, when you die, that also tells you where the enemy team's playing. So it kind of helps you spread your other heroes out to farm and give them the room to build up. We've got the Daedalus up now for Palo, so you know some of that space was being used well. And Roshan is back up. That is the third roast cheese, refresh on hand, Alacrity goes in. That is spotted up by the wards. Execration could try to play if they want to, but again, this is a very quick rosh to melt. Not enough time for Exa to respond to that.
Third Roshan of the game. Refresher Shard, cheese going to be available now, and In Your Dream will take both. In fact, he gives the cheese over to Jocam. Well, why the hell not? In Your Dream, double Torrent Storm and double Boat now available. Bob maybe targeted down a bot lane very soon, as there is a big group up coming in from NGX, and there they are. They've got the silence into the balance strike. Bob has not popped the BKB. He does eventually get it off, but it's all too late. He held out, and he has no buyback.
Yeah, I mean, the BKB wouldn't save him. I mean, the BKB wouldn't have saved him anyway, because you have level 25 in Mizu up.
Talos, yeah, he's been forced forward. Pretty far forward, in fact. The Torrent Storm going to lock him down a little bit longer, but he'll move in onto the puck, trying to deal with Mizu. In the meantime, Alacrity will go on to Tino, but here comes the Vortex out from Bob on the TA. But Alacrity is not bothered by this whatsoever, though he is completely stunned up here by Tino. But the time lapse is out from Jocam into the boat now, onto Palos, and with the side blades, they're taking care of him 2 at a time. As Mizu, he'll find a double kill, and Alacrity, he'll just keep going. Onto Shanks, a triple kill out for the Templar Assassin. And there'll be a second lane of barracks, I think, here, John, as you don't have buyback available on this Medusa. Bob? We got silenced up. I don't think... Oh, never mind, they can lock him down. They've got the silence, and they've also got an ultra kill, looking for the rampage. Would you look at that, John? Vincenzo, he's just trying to get out. Yeah. But he'll be the rampage here for Alacrity. Oh, this poor Treant Protector, John. He's had such a rough game already. And he ends the game with giving a rampage back the way of NGX.SEA.
Yeah, what can you do? You know, there's only so much you can do in Treant. NGX ramp up their game here. They play a lot more aggressive. They give In Your Dream this here that we've seen him perform on before. The Kunkka does some good work, held its lane really well. Alacrity also had a really good mid matchup. Not something the Storm manages all too well. And there were some doubts about Mizu's puck. I know you and Cheapo weren't big fans, but he does make it work. He even manages to hit his level 25 to deal with some of those BKBs in the last fight. And for Execration, the Deuce has just not been working today. It's too slow paced. They did have a lineup that could create more chaos as 4 in comparison to NGX in game 1, but they didn't have the start to sustain that. Like, Tino's blink was so delayed, he couldn't find any openings. Bob, his mid lane again wasn't the best. And there's only so much Treant can do when your entire team's too far behind. Like, the deep pushes are there from Kotal Treant, and the stall mechanic was there, but you had so much damage and fight from NGX that you couldn't really keep up for Execration.
I'm always happy for an offlane puck to work, Jonathan, as long as it means we get to go to game number 3, and that's exactly what's happened. So Execration, NGX.SEA, game number 3 will be coming up after a very short break, and we'll see you then.